Hello and welcome guys to the final season 8 video where today I will analyze a video of Dopa because rank got delayed by one additional day. And if you guys ever wonder if I do coaching, my answer is both yes and no because it's negotiable. But this is a video that will show you how maybe I think, depending on how I analyze Dopa and how he thinks if you actually might be consider coaching, and if not, I hope you guys just enjoy the video and hope my analysis of what he's trying to do is maybe accurate, good, or will help you somewhat. So let's get into it and see and try and figure out what he does and just see it for ourselves. I really like his intro. It's a lot better than mine. I don't have any fucking intro because I suck at editing, which you guys probably know. He's playing TF into Fizz. It's a pretty easy matchup to be honest, unless you fuck up and Fizz gets some easy kills. He's starting with Doran's Ring, which is a pretty obvious buy, and now he's thinking whether he should buy boots, but I don't think it's necessary. He runs, so if we take a look quick on his runes, he runs Comet to poke, Mana Flow. I prefer nullifying to survive with resolve, so I prefer nullifying and gathering because I don't really prefer beating Fizz reliant on Scorch. And then I do resolve where I go bone plating and regrowth because it stops his all in on me, and I bolster it by going the HP on the secondary stats, which you can see down here is the AP and the health basically. But apart from that, his runes are pretty standard, I would say, for him. The Zonya is because he wants to dodge the second ult of his. The minion DMAT is for temp when wave clear, which is more emphasized in Korea because you don't always get the AP unit to clear the wave. It's really hard sometimes to get the AP unit to one-shot the ranged, and this just emphasizes it or gives momentum depending on how he uses it in lane. Scorch is also way better in Korea because games are gonna be shorter and you want to emphasize the value on Scorch to set up for jungler and also accumulate pressure in lane. And yeah, that's about the reasons as to why you wanna run them. Else, it's pretty standard. I'm just saying my preference and then his and the thoughts going into it. So I hope that was pretty clear on it. He dies time skips until lane starts. I still don't really like the mana flow too much to nullifying and without resolve, but then again, if you play lane properly, you don't need too much survivability, and that's why he opts towards other rune optimization compared to me. And I also try to outplay or kill the Fizz a bit more. Yeah, the Camilla is just late staying, which is pretty correct. Like, what is she doing? Is she trying to catch some late poke? Here in lane, he selects an early card and he tries to threaten the Fizz, while he's trying to make sure the wave doesn't get crashed in too much. So he's trying just to fix the lane and put emphasis on the melees. He's also trying to harass the Fizz as much as possible. The first one was to try and blow the Fizz with max range. On his card, because if Fizz comes, it sets up the minion to aggro towards his, so his minion aggro him if he responds to poke back, and that makes the lane shove into him, which you can do with your first W. The second one he pokes because he knows the Fizz of the is down. And now he's trying to maintain the wave, so he keeps hitting the melee minions because those are the most important to crash. The ranged ones you can tank in front of your tower and lose just light HP, but you can manipulate the wave to stick to it. Here he Qs, so watch the way he Qs. He Qs the melee minion and the two injured one, but he keeps the other three that are healthy down here. Because if you think of the Q, it's a really efficient because now he can just auto attack these two, and he's most likely gonna get this minion if Fizz wasn't jumping into him. but Fizz wants to both crash in and poke him, so the Fizz then jumps in with his E to break the freeze and try to shove it in into Dopa. So he doesn't let Dopa do what he wants. Dopa, however, disregards it and then red cards and holds them here as the minion wave crash. And then he will slowly go here to reset and keep the main lane here. It's a pretty obvious thing, but it's an easy thing you can do against Fizz. But Fizz responded properly, so that's actually a really good poke he got, because now you see that he's actually gonna lose HP and he's forced to take one of his potions. But he gets the lane manipulation he wants, and that's the largest thing. So naturally um, Fizz wants to try and crush this in, so the lane resets, and he's hugging the side, assumingly if they have ward on Shinzao, they should know that Shinzao is bottom, so he hugs the side towards his jungler, as does Dopa, because he's on the side closest to the Shinzao. He auto-attacked Fizz a bit there, and it made him miss one of the minions because it crashed into the tower. And now he missed, oh wow, he actually missed 3 minions. The first poke was a mistake because it pulled a broken melee minion in and it made it miss, and then he goes for a secondary poke which pulls another one, and then it sets up to fuck even a third one up. But one of the reasons why he's also doing this is he's hard pressuring the Fizz to keep track on him rather than on the minimap, because Dopa spotted that his jungler is willing to go and wait for the gank. So he wants the Fizz to force his E out to guarantee the gank, but he's also putting a lot of pressure to minimize his attention on the minimap at the same time. So he's hoping the CS he's potentially missing are gonna pay out, because Fizz focus is gonna be on him more than the minimap. Here he's making sure he doesn't miss any more of it. He gets the cannon perfectly at the last second. The Shinzao is waiting, but the only problem is while he maintained the wave, he auto-attacked too much, and it made the enemy minions crash into the tower, so now he has a larger wave. And this changes dramatically on how he has to play. So from my point of view and how I play, I would crash the in because it makes me easier to poke the Fizz, and then I hope the Shinzao to still be around, so in case Rek'Sai comes, because I said the wrong jungler, but I remember now it's a Rek'Sai, not Camille. In case of Rek'Sai comes, then Shinzao is still nearby while he's crashing the wave or pushing him in. So now he's pushing it in because it's unfavorable for him to have the lane here for a long time. So it's easier to just crash the in and look to poke the Fizz, because Fizz will try to soak up most of this minion wave and try to actually go for the kill. I mean for the reset, what the fuck am I saying? Here he red cards the turret because it's the easiest thing to poke a melee champion like Fizz. So his poke compared to mine had been a bit different up to this point, where I prefer to red card minions a lot more in lane to try and get momentum and try to force his E and see whether the Fizz wants to freeze or if he wants me to shove. And if the Fizz lets me shove, I want to poke him prior to level 3 before he gets 1 point into each ability. But Dopa makes the Fizz jump on him and then he freezes the wave, so he's safe early levels from Fizz. That's the first difference between how me and him play versus the Fizz. But given that this is a higher elo and this is on the Chinese server, I'm pretty sure because it's not in Korean, these symbols, then he respects the opponent more than I do, which would be like lower master D1 or other kind of players, because these Chinese or Korean mid laners are more to respect. And here is why red card is more beneficial, because it's splash on the Fizz. So the Fizz will only E if it's on him, but he might take the damage if it's not. So you want always to try and get a minion adjacent to Fizz for the splash. Here he cards cleverly because it hits the wave and it hits Fizz, and he gets to start a push on the next wave to repeat the same scenario he's doing now. And Fizz, since he's been taking a lot of poke, he can't 1v1 kill TF. So unless the Rek'Sai comes soon, Dopa will keep doing this, and if Fizz ever E, Dopa can flash with his E up to one-shot him at the current health pool Fizz is at. So Rek'Sai really needs to come and help his mid laner out by how the lane has been going. So prior to Dopa uh, fixing it up to level 3 and then fucked up some minions, uh, it led him to build up a wave and poke the Fizz through his constant persistence of poking him, even though he missed some minions. So now he's at a really good spot, nonetheless after failing a couple of minions. He auto attacks Fizz every time he goes for a CS. Rexa comes in, he flash stuns him. Dopa instantly flashes away. Unfortunately, oh, never mind. I thought he ignited Fizz by mistake. And then he trades on Rek'Sai, and the Rek'Sai should be dead. So, Dopa, if we just go through the kill again, Rek'Sai comes with a really low health pool. So I believe the Rek'Sai took his Wraiths, because the Rek'Sai shouldn't be at that low of a health pool. But he manages to trade. Another thing to discuss quick is Dopa likes to buy Negatron Cloak versus Fez and LeBlanc.
어줍잖하게 로아 올리면은 이 다음 턴에 바로 솔킬이라 그냥 이렇게 가는 게 낫습니다.
He basically explains it now because why he's explaining it and why I'm explaining it. HP does less survivability compared to sheer MR because of how League works. So how League works is um, to have the maximum efficiency, you want 1 armor or magic resist per 10 HP. So if you were to get Catalyst or the HP, it just adds up and it fucks the HP to magic resist ratio harder. But now he almost has a perfect percentage of it because he sits at 836, so he sits also close to 83 magic resist. So this gives him a more efficient tankiness overall. And that's why he likes to go it with Mercs to survive the matchup and deny any possible 1v1 kill. Because how TF is designed in higher elo games is you're not supposed to be the one who does the damage anyway. So you can play to survive and deny the enemy mid laner, which is much more of importance than you winning and beating your opponent, compared to what I usually do because I try to solo kill people a lot more. But I'm also taking advantage of their tendencies and them playing bad, which Dopa has done of the Fizz of how he set up the waves. Unfortunately, the Rek'Sai kind of rescued Fizz, but Dopa is still at an alright spot. But that's the hindsight why he goes to MR. So let's just unroll and keep watching. I have no idea what the fuck the Fizz is doing. The Fizz... The Fizz tried... Wait, why did he Q early? He's not level 5. Wow. Oh my god, that actually hurts to watch. He thought he was level 5, because he's used to being level 5 at this point, because Fizz was level 5. Yeah, if he buys more HP, it just makes him more tanky, so it's the correct buy. Because the Fizz gets... I don't need to pause here. The Fizz gets to reset, and then he gets to shove and reset. So he gets 1.5 buy. So it's the correct play. I would have done the same thing. The translation of someone translating is, so the thing is, when the Koreans or Chinese say line, that might be the correct translation, but it probably is lane. Because it's, yeah, it means that the lane is not too good for him. But I don't, he said the lane isn't good, but all he needs to do is wait until it shoves. But the thing is why it's maybe not good, he knows that Fizz will get 6 before he does. So maybe he wants to get 6 before Fizz so it lessens the all-in. Cause Fizz should have Ignite soon enough up. They have about the same timer with Fizz a smaller time window of like 5 seconds, if not about the same. And Fizz can force Dopa to go back out of lane just by burning ult. So Fizz is now going back onto Dopa to try and set up for level 6 when he gets it, because he knows Dopa is flashless.
아! 미니언 길막 진짜 에바 꽁치네.
Dopa tried to trade back onto the Fizz, and that's a classic thing as with TF. So when Fizz trades on you, you kite backwards as much as possible, right? But as soon as you think Fizz will turn and run back, that's when you chase the Fizz because he's all on cooldowns and you try to trade much, you try to auto attack and pressure him as much as damage possible for him going in because that's the range to melee advantage. As when he's trying to run back to his side, you just turn and you try to get back as much as damage possible to mitigate the damage difference because he has a better threshold onto dumping damage on you and leaving. So you're trying to minimize the difference. And that's also why how you kill Fizz players. You try to get them onto your wave to kite back, and as soon as they leave, you set up, and then you can flash kill them if they ever get like about this low by having your E and then flashing up while their E is lower cooldown early on. If they actually do fuck up and take poor trades, where you use these minions to out trade them in the trade, which is not possible at this given time because the minion is too few and he has mostly resistance items, so he doesn't deal a whole lot compared to what the Fizz deals now onto him. But that's like the thought processing. Else you do it to manipulate the wave where these turn and his minion wave keep attacking them, so it gives you a shove if they are of equal strength. He stuns the Fizz doesn't E, because he wants to auto attack the minion or he misses it. So Dopa found a nice time window in lane.
머링.
The the Fizz did a really fucking bad ult straight down the middle. Like Dopa was standing here and Fizz ulted here. Almost 99% of the time Dopa will dodge by going this side. So he should have tossed the ult here. Because there's no way Dopa is gonna dodge towards the middle most of the time. Most people wouldn't dodge towards the middle in this instance. Plus they saw the Rek'Sai, so he would probably try to dodge the opposite side of the Rek'Sai. Because what happens if he gets hit? Then he's trying to move this side, while Rek'Sai and Fizz, they get the nicest path possible to killing him. So if he goes upwards, it's gonna take longer for the flashless Rek'Sai to reach him as well. If he does get hit. But Fizz does a really poorly ult.
만화 아까워.
Yeah, that was a waste of Q. I'm surprised he didn't demat one of the broken minions. Because then he could have queued the one.
물론
If he demat the one that was in the middle of them with the 2 healthy here, he could have queued this one and auto it, and then he gets all 3 of them. I mean he gets all 4 of them, but now
이제
he
나오네.
missed half of them. Was a bit
넘어가야
weird.
되는데.
The way he's CSing this game is really weird. He should have theoretically had
만화가
like
없어. 궁 쓰면.
he should have been 55 to 60 CS. Like he's playing really weird. Like I've never seen him miss so much minion where he has fucked them up himself, to be honest.
아 인생.
Because theoretically he should be around 70 CS if he has perfect now. I think a bit more, 72 at 7 minutes, or was it 76?
아.
uh, no,
아.
no. Oh,
너 박았으면 보였잖아.
oh, that hurt. Oh, that hurts.
아 박았으면 보였잖아.
But did he die because he didn't
아,
see him? Yeah,
아,
actually he did.
아, 너 박았으면 보였잖아.
Uh, okay, you can't ward from that to there because it's hard. The thing wise hard, he max ranged and wanted to bump the ward where you put it in the middle or the bottom and it bumps your ward into the bush because it forces it to go into the terrain closest into the wall you're pressing it to. But the thing is, he didn't need to ward because he knew Rexa was here recently. So he knew Rexa was river before and Fizz has no ult. So theoretically they can't kill him. Why? Because Rek'Sai doesn't have flash. Why? Because they have the same flash timer. And Fizz doesn't have ult. So there's no way if he just stays on this half that Rek'Sai kills him from ganking from bottom. So there's no point in warding with the information he has. So he fucked up. Like he fucked up twice. He pays attention to top, but top lane is gonna die before he gets in range of it. Fizz isn't here, so the best move is to try and shove the wave as quick as possible, because Fizz will have ult and your flash is still down. And he then gets to reset and play it towards Shinzao. Why? Because Shinzao is doing dragon because they spotted the jungler top. So they're mirroring it so the Riven didn't die for free. So it's a good response by both him and the jungler to keep pressure on the dragon by him shoving so Fizz can't answer either in case their bot lane could come to make it a 3 versus 3. I mean if Fizz answered obviously before Dopa.
인생.
Yeah, that's actually the fucking thing I think too. Like whenever I miss a cannon, I always joke and hit Alt F4 because I'm like, fuck my life. Like, uh, you really don't want to play when you miss cannon.
이렇게 미드 근처에서 막 벗어나려 하면 안 되는데. 좀 게임을 조지는데.
Yeah, he can't get out of mid lane because his top laner is playing slightly worse and he's getting caught off, while the bot lane are playing really evenly. But the Rexa has had hard emphasis on mid, mainly because they knew Dopa's flash timer, but now they can blow his flash again just by simply fizz ulting and then they have pressure again on him. He can't answer the pink ward because he knows where the Shinzao is, and that makes it even more threatening to where the Rexa is. Camille gets a solo kill on Riven, which is really bad. They answer one kill on bottom, which is fine, and weird because the enemy bot lane should have known where Shinzao was, but Dope only hit level 8 now, and he couldn't answer because level advantage, and he doesn't want to flash needlessly if he needs to, and the Fizz has blue buff, so his cooldowns are lowered. He's hugging. So what he did there is the Shinzao was a bit too close after wanting to steal the Wraiths. I didn't pay attention if he actually stole most of them or if he just went into ward. Hang on, I can actually check. Okay, so he went into ward and then he spotted Rek'Sai. So what happens here is he helps his jungler exit in case Fizz gets too close to ult. Why? Because he walks into the Fizz, so Fizz steps forward 2 steps and then has to turn, which yields more distance between Fizz and Shinzao. So he's doing a mechanical thing where he pretends to go onto Fizz to bait his movement and waste his time, so it distances it further away from Shinzao. So it's a really good psychological thing, but it harbors obviously a risk to it. And then you see that the Fizz still goes into the river needlessly, and the Rek'Sai shows up in case they could catch the Shinzao, which is out of reach. And there's the flash ult, which I said to burn and put pressure on him. The only difference is Dopa's team is here, so Fizz fucked up and he killed Rek'Sai. Fizz wanted to go for the trade kill, but that's worse because they have 4 people here. But the difference is why he might have gone for the trade kill is it wouldn't have mattered. Fizz doesn't have ult, and even if he did go for it or not, he couldn't wave clear this, so Dopa's team would have probably tried to proc 2 plights on it with 4 man. But since they live now, they can reset and they can go bottom, because the enemy ADC is gonna come soon bot from being dead, and then they get to have the wave about in front of the tower. So this is fine for both teams, but it's the thought processing is Fizz wanted to try and waste time for them to potentially miss the bot wave and kill the Kai'Sa, because they would get the push on this tower either way. But it just looks worse if you don't understand the play behind it. Dopa shoves and Bard shows up. They didn't get the second play because only 2 of them were shoving, which I said all 4 of them would if Fizz didn't do that.
공은 웬만하면 쓰지
Or
맙시다 그냥.
potentially only Lona. Kai'Sa would have recalled for the wave. Dopa resets and he needs to buy. Oh no, I forgot he has the stopwatch. Stopwatch comes up now at the perfect time, and now he only needs to sit around this area to the tower to be safe, because he has maximum defensives with the stopwatch up to compensate for the flash being down. He still hasn't roamed because he hasn't. They have denied him pretty heavily, and there has been no chances top lane. But at least his bot lane are doing alright,
나보다 레벨이 높네. 아, 아까
and his
그
jungler answering on
가드
the
잘못
other side.
박아가지고 죽은 게 컸구나.
Yeah, Fizz is larger than him.
어차피
By
내가
larger it
미드에서 안
means more fed.
죽으면 쟤네도 로밍이나 갱 함부로 못 다니니까 이거 한타 가면 투표가 훨씬 좋거든요. 이 조합이면.
Yeah, I prefer having a TF over Fizz on a team, but I guess most people would say the other side, the other way around. The Shinzao is inting.
나대다가
Uh, yeah, the Shinzao saw Fizz leave upwards. That's Shinzao's fault. It's not Dopa's fault.
건 내가 어떻게 해줄 수 없는 부분이고. 저거 잡았다. 나이스.
At least from Bard going there, they knew they could dive Ezreal. Bard is inting the Ezreal, so
여기서 노릴 텐데 다시.
yeah, they know your flash is down, so they should look for it.
렉사의 특징 여기서 맨날 기다림.
I think he can get that. Like, even if Rexa was here, oh, this is gonna be interesting. Actually, no, it won't. I'm my bad. I wanted to pause and talk that even if Rexa was race, he could red card that. He's too healthy with stopwatch for them to be able to kill him. There's nothing really much to say now because how the Rexa has been playing with the Fizz on Dopa, they have denied his roam, so he's forced to just wave clear and always wait to have his flash up for lane purposes. What the fuck is this Shinzao doing? Oh shit.
뭐해 진짜.
Dude, he's inting the Fizz another kill, like what? The Lona should step up and help him get the plate, because then they can't wave clear.
TP로 계속 쬐고
That
있어.
should never have happened because Fizz forced the wave clear and then they both stood still next to each other too much. What? Oh, he missed
좀
Q.
멍청한데 카이사가? 그냥 나 카드 던지면 들어오지. 왜 먼저 들어가? 내가 카드 던지면 어차피 쟤도 공 써야 되는데. 이번 판은 쿨감신이다.
Yeah, the Kaisa misplayed for sure, to be honest. I agree with him, but he kinda missed the Q. He should have tossed it a bit more left. I mean left of Kamel.
이번 아이템이 피즈한테 질 것 같은데?
The 2 kills he got really
그렇게
recovered.
과감하게?
The one thing that's really good though, even though he's been camped, he retains a high CS, but he's actually fucked up probably 50 to 20 CS, so he would have had a perfect CS even dying twice, which is kind of, I know it's kind of funny in a way, but them confining him in lane also helped him scale because he's farming way more than he's supposed to since he's not roaming. But then again, Shinzao has been focusing on bot lane and Rexa has been focusing on mid and top. Plus Shinzao is inting, so they have overall the worst jungler, but his bot lane are more useful than the enemy bot lane. And he's doing fine compared to the Fizz, considering how much attention the Fizz has. So I would say in terms of teammates, because Shinzao is a better champion than Rek'Sai, they still have the advantage because Dopa is doing well and bot lane, so it's 3 versus 2, kind of like leaning towards advantage. But since Shinzao is more useful, it still tilts towards like 3.5 to 1.5 if you compare like fives in value. So Dopa's team is just really favored to win, despite Rex accomplishing a lot
그렇네.
more.
피즈도
Just
딜템이
how their
없어가지고.
champions work, Dopa's team has a better draft overall.
여기 렉사이도 있다.
But I guess
내가
that's what
여기
happens when you pick a worse jungler.
피즈도 좋냐구나. 이거 도와줘야겠는데 저기
I mean, the
불패
Rek'Sai
아닌가?
really needs to kill the Kai'Sa. He's checking pink wards because he knows mostly where they are. Most of them back or recalled or went to other sites. He's pressuring mid and now he should look to go top and join them with the shove. He's pinging that the guy went bot lane towards him. Why is the Rexa looking to... I mean, Camille trying to 1v1 Riven now though. I don't think he needed to flash if he didn't miss position. He could eat the stun or just stopwatch there and buy time. He didn't need to flash immediately. But I guess flashing immediately also saves time.
공 떠줘 신짜오야. 아 아깝다.
Did you say Shinzao or?
공 떠줘 신짜오야.
Yeah.
아 아깝다.
He wanted Shinzao to ult them away from him.
이거 너무 앞에 있긴 했네.
He missed position, but
많이
it
앞에
worked
있었네.
out because they spent too many resources and time killing him because he's tanky. So it ended up yielding them 2 for 1 because his team is ahead and they spent too many resources trying to kill him. So even though he kind of misplayed in a sense, it yielded them more than it was supposed to.
어?
Because the nature of team difference. He's looking whether he could solo kill the Ezreal, but Ezreal's recall would have gone through. Plus he spotted the Fizz, so he would most likely get soloed if someone else was there. Or just killed by Fizz. think Fizz would have had his ult up there. Cause he skipped the timeline of his death
자,
to
바이게
shorten
스톰
the replay.
걸어주니까 블루를 찍어주는 신짜오 해보였어요. 훈훈하네요.
Yeah, that's not how it
내
works.
큐 왜 이렇게 세냐? 벌써? 주문력 템도 없는데.
He buys Rabadon because they have put a lot of focus onto him and he knows he doesn't need to be the damage of this team. Why? Because he has three other damage sources, which is Riven, Shinzao and Kaisa, and they're all strong.
어차피
And
투페
it
딜은
makes him
치베인으로
able to
완성이
go
되기
and
때문에
kill and stun
이거는
the Camille,
충분합니다.
Fizz, after both of
상대
their
피즈도 센 거죠.
nullifiers, which is Fizz E and Camille ult. And it also helps to kill the
카이사를
Rek'Sai.
보유하고 있는 내 쪽이
He's probably not gonna be focused
훨씬
on the
마음이
Ezreal,
편하죠.
but he can ult aggressively for Ezreal with Kaisa ulting in. If they play number advantage or quick engages when it's not clean 5v5s. But it's mostly for the other ones, judging from how much focus they put onto him. Camille should not be there, she should leave immediately, which she did.
우리 탑은 죽어버렸네.
So he's reading it better than his jungler, but his jungler has been a bit weird to be honest. Why are you kiting away from Leona? What?
인생.
Why did you kite away from Leona? That's... Okay, so if he kites here, he kites them toward further away from Camille being safe. But kiting towards the wall of their safety, then Camille gets to kite closer to the Bard ult to gain range, or I mean distance, to actually save or zone them off, which it did. And it also potentially saves the Camille because she has less distance to cover from being safe from her tower and teammates. So I don't know, that was a misplay again by Dopa. Like I can't understand it.
잡았어야
The
되는데.
Camille isn't strong enough to kill him in a 1v2.
이겼네요.
Like his items are just way too sufficient to hold their damage. He tries to poke them a bit, but it won't do much. It's because he's full mana and has blue buff. Plus it puts some pressure onto them. I have no idea what Bard is doing. Wow, the enemy team are focusing the Leona hard. Yeah, the correct play is to leave the Shinzao.
내가 한번 낚아볼게. 아니 리븐 얘 뭐해?
The Fizz will E.
안돼?
Oh, these team fights are so bad. When he says trick, it's poorly translated. He means bait.
그냥 하나 딱 정해서 가지.
But the thing is, one of the baits he did was he walked sideways when he can only walk straight line, because they would go for the kill most of the time anyway. So if he walked straight, he would have taken less damage and Kai'Sa would have reached faster because they connect closer to each other by the distance traveled. So him going sideways to bait is kind of excessive, unnecessary, like whatever you wanna call it. I just think it was really bad, but I guess. I guess it worked out more or less. Like he doesn't need to be the one dealing damage anyway.
내가 잘했으면 젠장 믿고 있었다고 해주려고 그랬는데.
I just think it was weird, to be honest, the way he baited. Actually, all of his deaths could have been preventable. No, actually, maybe not the last one. But only the first one was valid for a trade.
빼자 하지 말자.
No, actually, the first one and the last one. The two in between were... I'll talk about it towards the end, I guess.
아니 우리가 천천히 해도 존나 유리해요 그냥.
When I sum the game up.
없어.
He's going bot lane because Riven is dead, so he wants to gain pressure and push it back. because it helps them set up for Baron when or if someone answers it. So they can pressure to burn the TP or just rush it. The Kai'Sa is really strong, so they should be able to melt it. I don't remember what dragons they have though.
아 근데 성장이 좀
I know they have
느려가지고
one
어떻게 솔킬
one
딸지
ocean, but I
모르겠네.
don't remember the other one.
이건 이제 솔킬이
Oh, they have
작다는 거.
Infernal and Cloud. Okay, okay. I remembered loosely that they have Ocean Cloud, but I didn't know if they had a third one. So I guess they have Infernal, which is really good, considering it's buffs for 10%.
또 죽네. 공을 킬까?
I don't know why Leona flashed. The Leona flashing there didn't make sense. I mean, the bot lane can start it, but Dopa can finish the wave to bait that they're not doing it. But I'm pretty sure the enemy have it warded nonetheless. But there are too many on bot side. This is really weird. That was a really nice Q because he predicted ahead of time where Camille would be, so he queued her only escape route prematurely.
안 해봤다. 공을 어디다 쓰는 거야 이 멍청아. 와.
The
카이사
Kai'Sa ult.
클릭 실수한 거 같은데. 아만 봐도 쓰는 타이밍도 좀 느리고.
Yeah, the Kai'Sa's ult was really bad and almost killed her.
피즈
That should have been a lot cleaner than it was. But it was a pretty easy 2v3 to be honest. The way he played, because he stunned to set up her mark so they could kill the Rek'Sai, and then she could also reposition from the passive stacks. Then he forces the Bard and Ezreal to come in, and then she can repositions the Bard Q or the Ezreal Q to mitigate the damage, gain the shield, reposition and kill them. So the Rek'Sai didn't have a chance, so it depended on Kai'Sa's R, Bard and Ezreal. But it was a really easy 2v3 outplay, which Dopa set up for her. This I think was a bit weird to be honest. I mean it's gonna work out because his team are more fed, but I still think this was really fucking bad.
피즈 어딨어? 그랬구나.
I have no idea.
이렇게 되냐?
It works because your team is fed and
이거
because
아니면
everyone is
되는데요?
misplaying.
병신.
The Fizz was thinking whether he is into Dopa or is out, so he fought way too long and then got hit by the stun because he's retarded. He's gonna answer. Okay, they spotted.
후구들이 마구 온다. 바론의 시야가 없어서 어?
I mean the
아
Bard.
보였어 나.
I mean the Bard
여기
misplayed.
들어왔다.
Why did you lock card? You had another rotation.
아 카드 끝났는데?
What are both teams doing? It's actually so painful. The Bard is inting and he still got the Kai'Sa, then the Ezreal ints and almost gets the Lona. Dopa locks the card early too. I like it's so unbearable to watch the quality of this game. It literally feels like solo queue, but then again it is solo queue, so it's understandable. All of these misplays, I would say also by Dopa, he's done a lot of mistakes in my opinion, but it's just team difference. Like their bot lane is just too large. They can't kill Lona quick enough, and she always gets to set up with Kai'Sa being really fed. Then Shinzao and Riven are just more useful champions compared to Rek'Sai and Camille. in team fights. He chooses to try and help the Riven rather than going in backline.
알아.
Cause he'd rather go and connect with them. What are you doing?
병신. 내가 병신이구나.
Wait, he cancelled his auto before the Zanya. He would have killed Ezreal.
그거 먹고
Uh,
있었구나. 왜 안 오나 했네.
when he's going for the chase, but his team isn't coming, feels bad, man. This is so painful. There's so many mistakes this game, to be honest. He didn't really time skip this on the replay. I don't know why. He usually time skips a lot.
바론이 없네. 내가 바론 있어야 타워 쭉쭉 미는데.
No, he shouldn't be split pushing. They have triple gap close, so they can pinch him. Unless they know where everyone is. I'm pretty sure he can answer the Fizz, but... no, he actually can beat them if he had Baron buff. 1v1. But they can pinch him. The enemy team are engaging on Leona. This is interesting. He mistimed his Q. The Camille is trying to push the waves. They don't get the mid push. But it doesn't matter, they get the clean ace. Dude, that Camille is playing so bad in team fight. Yeah, they should just FF.
카밀이 그냥 던지네.
What the fuck was this game?
카밀이 탑을 열심히 터트려는.
Yeah, he literally says the same thing. Thank you, Dopa. You have the same analogy, dude.
근데 게임이
Holy
계속
shit.
답답하니까 그냥 던지네.谢谢 깐띠에.
Oh, 300 exactly. Pog. Okay. Let's go quickly into... Okay, so the things I think he did mistakes on. I mean, first death. No, let's talk the lane phase. So lane phase, he, hang on, how do I? Is this even readable? Yeah, it is. He he pokes the Fizz with first blue card to force E off Fizz, right? This setups the wave for a freeze, and then he blue cards the Fizz because E is off cooldown. It sets the wave to be at 3/4 of the lane phase, right? And then Fizz goes and pokes with E on Dopa. Um, hang on, let me fix this. Then Fizz E onto Dopa on third card, which Dopa trades on him because Fizz is trying to break the freeze, and it goes into tower. Then under tower, Xin Zhao shows, and Dopa pokes and loses 3 CS. This then forces Fizz HP lower, and it makes Dopa's minion wave shove. So by this time, Dopa is level 3.5, I think, because he hits 4 on next wave. So on this, he decides to shove the wave under tower on Fizz. Then he poke then he pokes the Fizz really low by red card tower splash, and then he keeps Q and auto him on under tower. This forces Rek'Sai to come and save Fizz. Rek'Sai flash flash stun him, but Dopa manages to trade one for one, which is really fine. The problem is the next part of the laning phase. Hang on, my camera resyncs. Okay, it's back. So this is part 2 of laning. Uh, part 2 of lane phase. He gets back and then he's forced to maintain the wave because CD on flash. And after that, he misplaces a ward, even though he knew, even though he knew Rek'Sai was river, and he didn't need to ward. That was a really huge mistake because he put in 1 and 2, and he he got killed, even though he sidestepped the Fizz ult. And judging from there, he just had to almost CS under tower until next flash. He Rek'Sai stayed mid and stayed mid top, apart from when he ganked him from below a few times, and Xin Zhao focused on bot. And afterwards, when Dopa got flash back, I already said that they would just burn it. But prior to this time, Xin Zhao ints twice. So the Xin Zhao ints twice, I think, or Xin Zhao actually ints once. Mm. Xin Zhao ints once. They burn the flash, but they then get the Rec plus Fizz because bot plus jungle response. Plus one plate, which is fine. The problem is then Xin Zhao ints twice, and the second gets Fizz a kill. But this makes them a really low HP because they're fighting a bit. So Dopa ends up shoving, and then Fizz and Bard misplace, and he gets plus 2 kills with Lona, and gets to be 3 and 2. And this was the part where he was forced to maintain the CS, and he played really well because even though they focused him a lot, he maintained a large CS. So he had 120 CS at 14 minutes. So that's not too large of a CS difference if you think 10 CS per minute as an average, which was really good. But then his team was really far ahead and they had already multiple dragons. So it ended up to the third death, which was top side. And there he burned flash because missed position, and then he baits and gets away with it, but dies because team difference, and that's him being 3 and 3. Then his fourth death was basically poor baiting because he went sideways, but they still won because Kaisa is fed with Riven CC. Which is his fourth death. And which was the fifth death? Hmm. Oh, Then Bard. So this then is the second one is Dopa at Wraiths and gets away with it because he TPs where Ezreal is standing, but a bit below at Wraiths. But then they trade 2 for 0, then they get 0 for 2, they chase. Fizz misplays because he gets stunned, it does an E. Bard kills, allegedly himself, but then Kaisa gets killed instead, and then Ezreal ins and Dopa gets more kills. And then it's the final team fight where they just trade 5 for 0 and they basically forfeit. One of the thing I didn't mention, I don't know timestamp unknown, is actually I do know it. Uh, like this is the first roam he gets, and it was after they misplayed mid. So if we go through the entire game, like really quick because the time is taking so long for this video. He pokes the Fizz with blue. It forces his E. It setups the wave. He then freezes it and pokes him with blue, so it freezes towards him even more. Fizz then breaks the freeze with E, and it stays at 3/4 of the lane until he breaks it and pushes it into tower. Then Shizao shows, so he baits too much for the Shinzao and pokes him, loses out a few CS, which makes the Fizz lower, and then Dopa's minion wave grows larger. Then he shoves it in, gets level 4. He shoves under tower, then he pokes it with the red splash and Qs and autos. The Rexa comes and they trade one for, and they manage to trade 1 for 1. But Dopa misses a lot of CS in mid lane under this game, to be honest. One also being a crucial Cranel he actually said FML on. And then the part 2 he gets uh, I don't know what the fuck this is. He gets what? Forced? Forced? I don't know what the fuck that was supposed to. I probably started mid-sentence and interrupted it. The part 2 was when he got forced to maintain the wave because of CD Flash, that he misplaced and dies even though he knew Rexa was river, because he said, ah, Rexa is trying again to kill me, and it was when Fizz ulted. I missed. And he died for no reason, missing both the wards, which could have saved him by stepping forward, and then he goes 1 and 2, but he knew the Rexa was around, so it didn't make sense. So he basically stayed, and it showed the difference between the jungle under focus, because Shin was bot and dragon, while Rexa was mid and top. Then Shinzao inted once, and then they basically killed the Rek and Fizz because they wanted to go on Dopa again, which was a good response by both his bot lane and jungle, and they managed to get one plate. Um, because Bard showed and they killed Fizz on the first roam, and then they dove the Ezreal, which was good by his team. Then Shinzao ends the second time, and then Dopa shoves because of the HP, gets 2 kills, and he gets the perfect CS. Then he misses the on the on the Kaisa. Then the third death was basically flash mish position. Then he baits because team difference. Fourth death is basically the same thing. After lost the team fight, but he goes sideways. And then the Kaisa and the Riven just carries, and then the fifth day death he basically chases and auto cancel. Then he TPs at Wraith, a really bad one. Like overall, I would say Dopa played really well in most of his CSing. He got away with a lot of shit because the Kaiser was fed and the team difference and how they drafted. But in this game, I kind of feel like he inted a lot, like he missed CS, which was really uncharacteristic. And apart from him trading this portion, which was the first portion, I think the rest of the portion he played really bad, from my point of view, watching and how he plays and performs overall. And he got a lot away with it because of his team being far ahead. But that's also why he rushed Zonia before, because he knew he would be the focus and he didn't need to deal the damage. So even though he was slightly inting in a sense, he got away with it because he knew the winning condition didn't need to be himself. So then he was also led up to misplay more or try more because he knew he had the backup for his team to close out on the damage difference. And yeah, that concludes for everything on this replay. I hope you guys stayed towards the end and got this part, which is the sum up. And that will be all for this video. And I'll see you guys tomorrow when Season 9 starts and I'm gonna grind like mad on Twitch. I'm probably gonna do 10 plus games minimum for the first month because I wanna hit 400 games before March, and I'm just gonna go get Challenger quick on EU West and NA hopefully. So I'll see you guys then, and I'll keep uploading more awesome videos. Let me know what you thought about this or analytical videos general, and until then, take care guys, and thanks for watching.